And, oh, are we live? Let's give it a couple of seconds. Says sending data, sending data. It's looking like we're good to go. Let's see, let's see. Are we live? Guys, let me know. Can you hear me? Let's see, let's see. I need to put some of my music on in the background. Let's see, let's see. Are we live? It's time. It's that day before. Guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. How's it going? Let me know in the chat. Can you hear me? Let's get a W in the chat if you can hear me. Get a W in the chat if you can hear me. How's it going, team? Charlotte26 says hello. Lincoln U says yes. Come on, come on. Jess says W. Liba Batty says W. Lincoln U W. XDG Dragon. Valley. Hey, Valley. Good to have you on. Slam W. Yannick, so welcome, welcome. Okay, we're going to be starting as per usual at 5 past. Let's see. Are we live on the TikTok? I'm just going to need to switch over and have a quick look. We got a little bit of co-promotion in there from Top Learn Teachers. Classic, classic. Oh, it's looking like we are beautiful. To those watching on the other platform, welcome, welcome. Good to have you on. I'm not going to say the names of the two that I'm live on, but it's pretty obvious. There's two main ones. Nice to see 100 others already on. Let's get this music on. Come on. Beautiful temptation. And they know hello. Man like Taylor Ebley in the chat says, big W. Beautiful, beautiful. Tay, if you could just put another thing in the chat for me, that would be fantastic. Hello, Eliza. Hello, Kyra. Hello, MD Noor says, let's start. We're going to give people just a few minutes to join, and then we are going to get going. We're going to be doing 3 live sessions this evening. Higher session 5 till half 6, foundation 7 till half 8, and higher again 9 till 10:30. Somebody says hi, hello, hello. Yeah, beautiful. Snatchy Tank says, guys, spam middle finger. Should we get a quick round of applause in the chat for Snatchy Tank? Guys, let's get some clapping emojis in the chat. Everybody, go on your keyboard, wherever it is, find the clapping emoji. That would be absolutely brilliant. Over here in my GCSE maths, we tolerate none of this rubbish. There's far more people studying properly than there are trying to mess things up. So a little bit of respect for the people who, for some reason, are trying to ruin things. Let's get those clapping emojis in. Beautiful. Patchy's in there. Quadji, Orlando, Timmy, Lordu Chowdhury, Orlando, Valili, Somi, another Orlando. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Having a quick look over on the TikTok. How many people have we got on? Nice to see 500 says low-key clocking in. Beautiful, beautiful. Nice to see 500 of us over on the TikTok and 130 of us on the channel. Guys, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm going to be live this evening pretty much all night. We're going to be doing this higher paper, followed by a foundation paper, followed by a higher paper. We're going to be doing almost all of the questions. Some of them we're going to skip. The reason is because they're ones which I think are less likely to come up tomorrow, and we're going to be prioritizing the ones that I think are more likely to come up. So there's going to be a few questions which are skipped. There's also going to be a few questions which I add in here and there, which I think are going to be especially good for our revision. Nice to see things running smoothly. I'm just going to get my music back on. Hopefully you guys can't hear it. That would not be so good. Beautiful. 1 minute to go, and we're going to get starting. We're going to get starting. It's going to be a long night of revision, but we're in it together, guys. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. And we're going to also shoot to try and beat the record number of people on one of our streams on the channel. We got up to 380 last night. Let's see what we end on tonight. Welcome, Hassan. Good to have you, my friend. Welcome, Gorgonite. Welcome, Waul Abu says, lock in. Yes, my friend, it's time to lock in. And without further ado, it is now 5:05. Guys, we are going to get going with this paper. For anybody who's new, welcome, welcome. The format is simple. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do each of the questions, and then I'm going to go through all of the answers. Now, some of you want me to just go through the questions, but I am going to give a little bit of thinking time. And the reason is because this is going to be by far how you get the most out of these sessions. If you're on the bus and you don't have pen and paper, that's fine. But please, please, please still think at least about how you would do the question. That is going to be the way to get the most out of this. Question number one, we can see we have an arithmetic sequence. We're given the first 5 terms, 1, 4, 7, 10, and 13, and we're asked to find an expression in terms of n for the nth term of the sequence. What do we think, team? Drop your answer in the chat when you have one. Will Lucy's got an answer? Iton Edit says the same thing. Man like Liber Batti in there says 3n minus 2 as well. Guys, let's have a look. Is it 3n minus 2? How do we find the nth term of a linear sequence like this? How do we find the nth term? Well, of a linear sequence, arithmetic sequence, what we do is we start off by finding the common difference. So we look at how we get from one term to the next. From 1 to 4, what do? We plus 3. We do the same to get from 4 to 7 and 7 to 10 as well. Now, this common difference is going to tell us the number which goes next to our n in our nth term. Then all that we have to do is look, okay, how do I get from this number here, the 3, to the first term of the sequence? From 3 to 2, we minus 2, so that is going to be the next part of our nth term. We're going to have 3n minus 2 here as our answer to the first one. Well done, Abraham, well done, Tamir, well done, Charlotte, well done, Remy, Adam, Orlando. You guys are doing well already. Question number 2, show that 2 1/3 times by 3 3/4 is equal to 8 3/4. This one's a show that question, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through this, but make sure, again, we're thinking about how to do each of these questions. So how do we show that this mixed number times by this mixed number is equal to the mixed number 8 3/4? Step number 1, we're going to rewrite our mixed numbers as improper fractions. How do we do that? We're going to do our number on the outside of the fraction times by the number on the bottom. So 2 times by 3 is going to be 6. Then we're going to plus this one on the top. 6 plus 1 is going to be 7. So we're going to have 7 over 3 times by 3 3/4. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 3 times by 4 is going to give us 12. Then we're going to add that 3 on the top. We're going to get 15 over 4. And how are we going to simplify that? How are we going to simplify that? Well, there's a couple of different ways we could do it. We could do the top times by the top. 7 times by 15 is going to be 105 to simplify this. And then 3 times by 4 is going to be 12. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and simplify our fraction by dividing the top and bottom by any common factors. It might take you a little bit of time to work this out. You could use the bus stop method, but 105 divided by 3 itself is going to be 35. So we can divide the top and bottom of our fraction by 3. So we have divide by 3, and we can divide the bottom by 3 as well. Like we say, 105 divided by 3 is going to be 35. And we're going to have 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4. Now we have this as 35 over 4. We can convert this straight into our mixed number of 8 3/4. But how do we know that it's 8 3/4? Well, we know that 4 goes into 35 4 times fully, because 8 times by 4 is 32. And then 35 is 3 bigger than 32. So we have 3 left over, and that's why that goes there on top of our fraction. Question number 2, a nice little show that question to get us going. Now, question 3 of this paper is going to be a little bit annoying, but it's really important to go through tonight. It's really important to go through. It's actually a graph matching question, and it's pretty important. A lot of people won't have memorized these graphs, but it's quite likely to come up in paper 1. We basically need to say which graph is y equals minus x cubed, which one is y equals x cubed, which one is y equals x squared, and which one is y equals 1 over x. Now, we're going to do this by process of elimination. My question to everybody is this. We're going to do y equals x squared first, because this is probably the one that most people are going to know about. So, chat, let me know, which of these graphs is y equals x squared? Which of these graphs is y equals x squared? Drop it in for me. Y equals x squared. Jack says D. Hassan D. Rue says D. Liber D. Alex says D. Yep, you're absolutely right if you said D, so we're going to go ahead and fill that in. Why is that one y equals x squared? Well, we learned that the general shape of a quadratic is that happy face, and if it had a negative in front of it, it would be flipped upside down. Now let's rub that out and let's see which one we're going to go with next. Again, like I say, best method here, process of elimination. The next one, which most people are likely to know, is going to be this one at the bottom, y equals 1 over x. So let me know, guys, let me know which one of these is going to be y equals 1 over x. Is it going to be A, B, C, or D? Let me know in the chat. What's it going to be? Cardsy says A, Fez says A. Yep, I can see the chat popping off tonight. Absolutely, absolutely. Y equals 1 over x is our reciprocal graph. It's that one, which looks like this. It goes down from kind of very high up and curves down like this. And yeah, does the same in the negative quadrant. So that one is going to be graph A, filling it in. Next up, we're going to go for our y equals x cubed graph. So I'm going to rub this one out, and guys, let me know which one of these graphs is y equals x cubed. This one's going to be the next most commonly known. But again, a lot of people are not going to know this one. Okay, I can see it popping off in the chat. Dylan says C, Libas C, Ryan C, yep, MD North says C. Absolutely fantastic, guys. That is, in fact, C. That is our cubic graph. Our cubic graph. And by process of elimination, that leaves graph B for y equals minus x cubed. Now, how could we know? How could we know that this one was y equals minus x cubed? Well, this is essentially a reflection of the y equals x cubed graph in the y-axis. So we've multiplied it by -1. Essentially, we've reflected it in the y-axis. So yeah, that's how you could do that one if you wanted a way to work it out. So our answer to this one, B, C, D, A. Question number 4, a pretty tough one for some people. It's going to really depend on how well you know your content. It says the diagram shows 4 triangles. 2 of these triangles are congruent. Write down the letters of these 2 triangles. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do this one. Just checking in over on the TikTok. Hey, beautiful. We got quite a few people on. We're over 1,500 people total tonight. Guys, if you're new here, welcome to the My GCSE Maths community. Good to have you on. What do we think for this one then, team? Fahad Gul says A and D. Isla says A and D. Getting Real says AD. Okay, how could we tell if this one is AD? Because it seems to be a pretty popular opinion. Well, when we're identifying congruent triangles, first of all, what are 2 congruent triangles? They're triangles which are exactly the same. So the same size and also the same angles, same size and same angles. How could we do it? Well, we have a few different methods. We could either show that they have an angle, a side, and an angle in common, a side, an angle in between, and a side in common. We also have side, 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 and right angle, hypotenuse, side. We look at these triangles and let's have a look. Can we say that it's A and D? Well, I look at triangle A and I see that we have an angle of 55, a side of 10, and an angle of 45. Now I look at triangle D and I see I have an angle of 45 and a side of 10, so that matches up beautifully, but we need another angle, the other side of it, to also be 55. But we don't have that angle at the moment, so let's go ahead and work it out. How can we work out this angle here? Well, we know, or we might know, that the angles in a triangle add up to 150 degrees. Sorry, 150, 180 degrees. I was jumping ahead to the answer. Yeah, 180 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to take away our 80 and our 45 from 180 to find the size of this angle down here. So we're going to do 180, subtract 80. That's going to be 100. And then we're going to do our 100 subtract 45, and that is going to be 55. So we know that this angle here is 55. And what can we say? We can say that we have angle, side, angle, because we have 2 angles which are the same, 55 and 45, and the side in between them is also the same. So we get our answer to that one of A and D. Personally, I think that should be a 2 marker, but hey, I'm not the one making the rules, unfortunately. Okay, let's have a look at question 5 then. 3 marks up for grabs in this one. Another crucial topic for paper 1. Henry Knowles, good to have you on, my friend. Nice to see you as ever. Orlando, Planverse, Local Aviator, great work on that one. Abdullah, good work, my friend. Cardsy says 20% for this one. Fahad Gul, 20% as well. Adam says, come on. Barriot Grand Prix says, this okay for AQA? Absolutely. Oh, I accidentally just changed the song. David Bow, hello, my friend. Gamer Robot. Guys, what do we think for question number 5? Like I say, crucial topic. Crucial topic for paper 1. these profit and loss style questions, these percentage change questions. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. Question number 5. Mossa Family says 20. XTG Dragon 20. Jan Ven says, I'm new here. Welcome, my friend. Good to have you on. Welcome to the team. Okay, what's it going to be? Well, the question says that Sean pays £10 for 24 chocolate bars. He sells all of those 24 chocolate bars for 50 pence each. And we need to work out Sean's percentage profit. Guys, how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to have to work out, first of all, the money we have coming in. Then we're going to have to take away our costs. That's going to give us our profit. Then we can do our profit divided by our costs times by 100 to work out our percentage profit. Let's get it done. So first of all, how much money do we have coming in? We're going to do 24 times by our 50 pence. 24 times by our 50 pence. Now this is going to be the same as 24 times by half of a pound. So we can just halve that number 24 and it's going to give us £12. Next up, how do we work out our profit? Well, we can do the £12 that we have coming in, subtract our £10 that we spent on the 24 chocolate bars. What's that going to be? 12 take 10. That is going to give us £2. Now, what about our percentage profit, guys? We're going to do our profit divided by our costs times by 100. So we're going to do £2 over £10 times by 100. This is 2 over 10 times by 100. We could write 2 over 10 as 0.2. So we have 0.2 times by 100. And this is going to give us 20% as our answer. The other way to do that would have been to scale up that fraction to get 100 on the bottom. And then that number on the top would have given us our answer. Let's have a look. What's the chat saying? Educate, good to have you on, my friend. Hannah, good work. May's good work. Maria, good to have you on this evening. Congratulations for today. Congratulations for today. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, guys, well done if you got that one. Moving on now to question number 6. Now, this one is a 5 marker. It looks pretty difficult, but let me tell you, this one is really not too bad if you know stuff about your angles. Let's see what we can do. And Luton says, yo, I'm back. Good to have you on, my friend. Tiny Temper said, guys, remember your exact trig values and your circle theorems will come up. What I will say is circle theorems can come up. They absolutely can. They're not guaranteed by any means. However, exact trig values, I can say they are actually really, really likely to come up, almost guaranteed. If you haven't already, watch the video on exact trig values using the hand method. That should show you everything you need. Guys, we are on a PR on the channel. 464 of us watching. To anybody who is new, welcome, welcome. Tomiko Asile says, how old is bro? Bro is 24. Bro's 24. I know I look quite young, guys. A lot of people ask my grades. A lot of people ask how long I've been doing this for. So just to clear that up at this stage, I'll let you all know. So I'm 24 years old. I've been doing this on social media for 3 years. This is the 3rd year. My GCSE grades, I got 12 A stars. A-level grades, I got 3 A stars. And I've been tutoring for 8 years. So that kind of sums up a lot of the information which people ask. But yeah, that's a bit of summary because I know it's going to get asked loads today. Question number 6. Question number 6. Let's have a look and see what we can do. And those A levels included maths and further maths because I know people are going to ask that. Degree-wise, I went to the London School of Economics. My degree's in economics, very maths related. So yeah, because I know that's going to come up a lot today. Abdurrah Carmen says the hand method is low-key smart. Yes, my friend. It's so good, eh? When I discovered that method, I only actually learned it a few years ago, to be honest. I'd never seen that before. I used to use a table method. The hand method is a game changer, a game changer. Man like Ibra says back from yesterday, the GOAT. Come on, come on. Guys, drop ready in the chat when you're ready for this one for me and we'll go through it. It's 5 marks, but let me tell you, most of you should be getting 5 out of 5 on this. There's different ways to think about it, absolutely. Okay, Arjun's ready. Goldie's ready. Abdullah's ready. Remy's ready. Casper's ready. Timmy's ready. Timmy, come on. Guys, let's have a look. How are we going to do it? The question says ADC is a triangle. AED and ABC are straight lines. EB is parallel to DC. So this one and this one are parallel. Straight away, I'm seeing angles. I'm seeing parallel. I'm thinking angles in parallel lines. We're told that EBC is 148. ADC is 63. Okay. Work out the size of angle EAB. So EAB, that's going to be this one up here. So how can we do it? I'm also seeing that we have a bit of a triangle up here at the top, this triangle. I'm knowing that if I can work out this angle here and this angle here, then I can take them away from 180 to find the size of EAB. So how can I work out those two? Well, for this one over here, we can see that we have angles on a straight line. What do we know about angles on a straight line? It says you must give a reason. We know that angles on a straight line add to 180. So we can do 180 minus our 148, and that is going to give us 32, and that is going to be this angle here. Now, what about for this angle here? Well, when we're dealing with our parallel lines, we're thinking of co-interior angles, corresponding angles, alternate angles. Alternate ones, they're the Z shape. Co-interior is our U shape, like these ones. Here we actually have corresponding angles. This is kind of our F shape. So we can actually say that this one is corresponding to this one down here. And what do we know about corresponding angles? We know that corresponding angles are the same. Let me write that in. So we know that corresponding angles are the same. So we can say that this one here is 63. This one here is 63. Where can we go from here? Well, we know that angles in a triangle add up to 180, so we can add these two together if we want. 63 plus 32 is going to be 95, and then we can do our 180, subtract our 95, and that is going to give us 85, and that is going to be our angle up here at the top. Angle EAB is going to be 85 degrees. If you got that one, wonderful, wonderful work. Certainly not one that everybody would have got, but if you did know those, to be honest, that's a pretty easy 5 marks, to be honest, if you did know that content. If you didn't, please don't stress, but hopefully it makes sense how to do it. Now, question number 7. This one is a stem and leaf diagram question. And this one I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to go through straight away because I know a lot of people don't have the paper printed out. And it's a bit awkward, to be honest, to do without the paper. But it is important. It is really important. So make sure to pay close attention. The question says, the table shows information about the heights in centimeters of a group of year 9 girls. The least height is 150, median is 165, greatest height is 170. We're told that the stem and leaf diagram shows information about the heights in centimeters of a group of 15 year 9 boys. Then we're asked to compare the distribution of the heights of girls with the distribution of the heights of the boys. What are we going to do? We're going to compare two things. We're going to talk about who is more spread out and who is higher on average. So who's more consistent, who's higher on average? The way that we're going to compare who's higher on average is we're going to compare the medians. So now the question becomes, how do we find the median from a stem and leaf diagram? What we're going to do is we're going to cross off our numbers from the bottom and the top one by one until that we're left with the one which is in the middle. The median, remember guys, is the number which when we line them all up from smallest to biggest is in the middle. And here we can see that our numbers have actually already been lined up. We're always going to have that in a stem and leaf diagram. So I'm going to cross one from the bottom, one from the top. Let's have a look what we're going to get. So I'm going to cross 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and I can see that this one is going to be the median. So the boys' median, let's have a look at our key. 1,5 line 8 represents 158. So 1,6 line 8 is going to be 168. So we can say the boys' median, so boys are taller on average, and I'll explain why in a second. So boys are taller on average. And what's the reason? The reason is because the median for boys, in brackets 168, is higher than the girls. And what was the girls' median? 165. Now I'm going to keep everything on the same page, but I'm just going to write this second part up here. So there's 3 marks for this question, which means we want to compare the average and also the range. So who's more consistent or spread out? We are going to work out the range. So the range for the girls. How do we work out the range? It's going to be the biggest one, subtract the lowest one, or the biggest take the smallest, I should say. So 170 take 150. That is going to give us 20. So the range is going to be 20 here. What about for the boys? Biggest take smallest, we're going to do 182 minus 158. That is going to give us 24. You would absolutely do that using the column method, column subtraction. I just did it like that for speed. So we can say, I'm going to write this in green just to make it super clear. So I'm going to say boys are more spread out. And I'm going to say the range is higher. And I've shown clearly that I've worked them both out, so I don't need to worry too much about writing it further there. So the boys' heights are more spread out because the range is higher. Okay, 5 seconds to screenshot this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to move on to question number 8. Yep, another good question. 3 marks up for grabs in this one. Let's see what we can do. To anybody who's new, welcome, welcome, welcome to the community. I'm going live over the GCSE exam period. A couple of times a week, I'm going to be going live on social media. I also have a website, mygcsemaths.com, where there's kind of small group classes. You can check that one out. But yeah, welcome to the community. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. We've got a bunch of moderators in the chat. Thank you, NJ. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Tazamodo. Guys, you're doing an awesome job this evening holding things together. I don't even know how many people are watching altogether, but I can see that things are the biggest they've ever been. So guys, welcome to the community. Question number 8. Let's have a look. I'm going to give another minute or so for this one. Make sure if you haven't already, you're thinking at least about how to do the questions. I cannot stress this enough, guys. If you don't have pen and paper, don't just wait for me to go through it. Please have a think about how you would do it. That's how you're going to get the most out ahead of tomorrow. That's how you're going to get the most out. I'm also going to be going live 7 till 8:30 for foundation. I'm going to be going live again 9 till 10:30 for higher. I'm going to be giving some mindset advice in the last session, kind of dealing with the exam nerves, stress, anxiety, how to kind of maximize your performance. So make sure you stay tuned for that if that's something you're interested in. I know that a bit of anxiety and a bit of nervousness is really something that a lot of people deal with. So I'm really keen to share some techniques for dealing with that. Okay, and Luton says, what's your name, bro? I keep referring to you as Maths guy. It's Matt. It's Matt. Okay, question number 8. Are we ready for this one? Team, drop ready in the chat when you're ready, and we're going to talk about it. How can we do question number 8? Will Chancellor's got an answer. So's Tommo. So's Dead Bolo. So's Fairs. Nice to see, guys. Nice to see. What can we do? Emma's ready. Gilda's ready. Let's have a look. Question number 8. Question number 8. The diagram shows a prism placed on a horizontal floor. The prism has a height of 3. The volume of the prism is 18 meters cubed. The pressure on the floor due to the prism is 75 newtons per meter squared. Straight away, I'm thinking of my pressure equals force over area. We need to work out the force exerted by the prism on the floor. So we know actually from the formula over here that pressure is equal to force divided by area. Now we can rearrange this and we're going to get area times by pressure is equal to force. Area times by pressure is equal to force. A lot of you, I know, really like the triangle for this. So let's draw it out. We're going to have pressure in the bottom left, force in the top, and area in the bottom right. The first thing that I see, though, is that we don't have our area at the moment. We have our pressure, we want our force, we're going to need our area. How can we work it out? Well, we've been told here that the volume of the prism is 18 and the height is 3. How can we work out the area? Well, to work out the volume, we do the area of that end face times by the height. So if we want to work out the area of the end face, we can actually do our volume. So the area is going to be equal to our volume divided by our height. So we can work out our area. We're going to have our area is equal to the volume of 18 divided by the height of 3, and that is going to give us 6. So now when it comes to working out our force, we can come up to our triangle. We can do force is equal to pressure times by area because they're both on the bottom. So we can do our pressure of 75 times by our area of 6, and that's going to be equal to our pressure. The next question is, how do we do 75 times by 6? Well, we could do that by doing mentally 70 times 6 is 420, plus 6 times 5 is 30, but it's going to be way easier with the column method. So we're going to do 75 times by 6. We're going to do 5 times by 6, which is 30. And then I'm just going to go down a little bit. And then we're going to do 6 times by 7. But because the 7 is one column across, we're going to write in a 0. Then we're going to do 7 times by 6 is 42. Next step, what are we going to do? We're going to add together our values. We're going to have 0 plus 5 plus 4. We're going to get 450. I don't know why I'm writing so swift today. But anyway, 450 is the answer. So pressure is equal to 450. Pressure is equal to 450. If you got that one, superb job. Pretty tricky, I would say. Definitely not everybody would have gotten that one. Moving on now to question number 9. Question number 9. Couple of ways to think about this. I don't know why I look so red on the camera. Let me turn this up, see if it improves it at all. Okay. Question number 9. Write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. Start with the smallest number. I'm going to label these A, B, C, and D. So you can give this a go and write them in order in the chat. Write them in order in the chat. Have a think about how to do this, guys. Don't just wait for me to do it. It's definitely going to be how you get the most out of it. Question number 9. Write these numbers in order of size. We can see we have a classic standard form question. Or ordering numbers in standard form question. We got a few answers going in the chat. Harry Taylor says CABD. Lou says DCAB. Fez says BDAC. Lincoln U DBCA. We've got many different answers. Many different answers. How are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? We can either do this by converting all of our numbers out of standard form or converting all of our numbers into standard form. In general, I know more people like to convert them into standard form, so that is the way we're going to do it. What can we do? Well, this one, first of all, A, is already in standard form. What does it mean for a number to be in standard form? Well, it's in standard form if it's a number between 1 and 10 times by 10 to a power. So 6.72 is between 1 and 10, and here we have it times by 10 to the power of 5. So it's already in standard form. And that power has to be a whole number for it to be in standard form. Now, what about this next one? This one at the moment isn't a number between 1 and 10. So we're going to convert the 67.2 into a number between 1 and 10. We're going to write it as 6.72. Now, we're going to have to change this 10 to the power of negative 4. 10 to the power of negative 4 means divide by 10 4 times. Well, we've already made our number 10 times smaller, so we're going to have to divide by 10 one fewer times. So we were dividing by 10 4 times initially. Now we're going to be dividing by 10 3 times. So we're going to increase the power to 10 to the power of negative 3. So it became less negative there. We made the number 10 times smaller. So we're going to have to change that power and make it divide by 10 one less time. Now, what about this next one? Part C. Well, again, this number's not between 1 and 10. This number's not between 1 and 10. It's 672. So we're going to write it as a number between 1 and 10. It's going to be 6.72. And then we're going to have times by, well, what do we need to do this time? Well, this time we've made our number over here, the 672, 10 times smaller twice. We've divided it by 100 to get it to 6.72. So what we're going to have to do is rewriting this, we're going to have to times by 10 2 more times to make it equal to the same as before. So we're going to add 2 to the power, we're going to get 10 to the power of 6. Now I'm just going to draw a dotted line. So we've done 3 of them. What about number 4? Well, this one, we're going to have kind of a classic standard form conversion, 0.0000672. Again, we write it as a number between 1 and 10. So we have 6.72 times by 10 to the power of. Now, this is a really small number at the moment, so I know it's going to be a negative power. And what's a negative power? We need to count how many places we've moved that decimal point. To get it between the 6 and the 7, we can see we've moved it 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So the power is going to be the number is going to be 6.72 times 10 to the power negative 4. I'm actually just going to copy down this first one to make them super easy to compare. 6.72 times 10 to the 5. Now that we have a 6.72 at the start of each of them, we can just go ahead and look at the powers. So the smaller the power, the more negative, or the smaller in magnitude it is, the smaller our number is going to be. So our smallest number is going to be D. So I'm just going to write it like this. We're going to have D because that's the smallest power, negative 4. Next up, we're going to have B because it's negative 3, followed by A because that has a power of 5 on it, and C has a power of 6. So our answer is 0.000672, followed by 67.2 times 10 to the negative 4, followed by 6.72 times 10 to the 5, followed by 672 times 10 to the 4. And absolutely make sure that you write them in their original format in the exam. Here I've just done it like this to save a little bit of time. Okay, let's move on. Question number 10, 3 marks up for grabs in this one. And I am going to ask, guys, for a little bit of feedback. How is the pace so far? How is the pace so far? Would you like me to speed up? Start a poll. So how's the pace? So we're going to have speed up. We're going to have it's perfect. And we're going to have slow down. Okay, I have just set up that poll. I can see a lot of people giving feedback in the chat. Guys, I'm going to ask you, please, 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 let me know in that poll. We have the majority saying it's perfect at the moment. Very mixed opinions on the TikTok as well. If you're currently watching on the TikTok, please consider coming over to the channel. That's where the chat's really popping off. Okay, it's very tight in the votes. 44%. Okay, 250 people have voted. Let's try and increase that a bit. There's 500 of us on here. Arjun said, okay, mixed opinions. Guys, question number 10. Drop an answer in the chat when you have it for me. The majority of people are saying the pace is perfect. That's very good to hear. Thank you very much. We're going to go through this question. The next question, which is super important, then I'm going to ask you guys for a little bit of a favor. Nice to see the chat popping off. Come on. Guys, question number 10. I've given you a few minutes. Should we go through this one? Let's see. Question 10. Are we ready? Very likely to come up, let me tell you, very likely to come up in paper 1. Actually, to be honest, quite likely to come up. I'm not going to say very likely, but quite likely. Okay. Question number 10. This is a actually combining ratios question. Those of you who were with me last night would have seen a similar one, but this time it combines it with our fraction knowledge. This one says, given that A over B is equal to 2 over 5 and B over C is equal to 3 over 4, find the ratio of A to B to C. So the first skill here is going to be converting from a fraction to a ratio. Now, how do we do that? Well, all that we have to do is take our number on the top where the A is, that's going to go next to the A, and our number on the bottom where the B is, that's going to go next to our B. And the reason this works is because this is essentially like saying the value of A and B are such that when A is 2, B is 5. So we can say from our fraction that the ratio of A to B is equal to 2 to 5. Then we can use the exact same logic from our other fraction. When B is 3, C is 4. So we can say the ratio of B to C is 3 to 4. Now, how do we combine ratios? I cannot stress how important this is for the exams. It's almost guaranteed to come up. Well, we need to rewrite these with the same number. So we're going to scale them up to have the same number for the letter which is in both of the ratios. So here we have the B in both of them. So we need the same number next to the B in both of them. So we're going to find a number which 5 and 3 both go into. The easy way to do this is going to be to do 5 times by 3. 5 times by 3 is going to be 15, so we can write them both with 15s with 3. How do we get from 5 to 15? We times it by 3. So we're going to do the same to the 2. We're going to times it by 3. 2 by 3 is going to be 6. How do we get from 3 to 15? We times it by 5. So we're going to do the same to the 4. We're going to times it by 5. We're going to get 15 to 20. Now that we have the same number for the letter in common, we can write this as a combined ratio. So A to B to C. Well, what do we know? We know that when B is 15, C is 20. And we also know that when B is 15, A is 6. So we can say the ratio of A to B to C is 6 to 15 to 20. And that is going to be our final answer for this one. If you got this one, guys, absolutely fantastic job. Quite likely to come up. Well done, Rue Rogers. Well done, Aviaton Lucas. Well done, Lincoln New. You guys are doing a fantastic, fantastic job today. Absolutely love to see it. Okay. Question 11. This, guys, I cannot tell you, is another super, super important topic. Super important topic. Let's see. Why do I say it's important? This topic is our laws of indices. Very likely in paper 1. Very likely in paper 1. To everybody saying W teacher, thank you very much. I'm going to say W chat. W chat. Lincoln, you said I'm so cooked on SURDS. There's a SURDS question in this paper, I think, if I remember correctly. So that'll be good to revise. That'll be good to revise. Hey, thank you, Timmy. Alessandro Taffarello says, just came in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Guys, after this question, focusing on this one, 4 marks up for grabs. If you've not done it yet, don't listen to what I'm saying. Focus on the question. But if you have done it, guys, after this question, I'm going to ask you for a favor. I'm going to ask you for a favor. The favor is going to be to leave a quick Google review using the link that is in my bio. Now, I cannot stress this enough. This really, really helps me. And so it would mean it would mean a lot if I can get some reviews in that. The selfish reason for you guys to do it is it's the only way that I'm going to be able to keep doing these live streams for free. So I want to do as many free live streams on social media as I possibly can. I have some premium ones as well on my website, but I really like doing these social media ones. And the only way I can do it is if I get these reviews. So that's kind of the selfish reason to do it. A lot of people putting in the chat that they've done it already. Thank you if you have. Question number 11. Drop ready in the chat when you're ready, and we're going to go through it. I just saw the funniest comment. Okay, Rash is ready. Faz is ready. Murbas is ready. Timmy is ready. Okay, let's have a look. Question number 11. It says, find the value of the 4th root of 81 times 10 to the power of 8. How are we going to do this? The 4th root of 81 to the power of times 10 to the power of 8. What we're going to do is we're going to do them separately. So we're going to actually split this up into the 4th root of 81 times by the 4th root of 10 to the power of 8. Now that we've done that, we can think about where to proceed. So the 4th root of 81, this is like saying, what number do I times by itself, and times by itself again to get 81? Well, 3 times by 3 is 27, times 3 again is 81. So the 4th root of 81 is going to be 3. So we're going to have 3 times by. Now we have to deal with this 4th root of 10 to the power of 8. How are we going to do it? Well, the way that we're going to think about this is, how can I rewrite the 4th root in a form that I know how to work with? We know maybe that our fractional powers, when we have a fractional power, we do the root of the number on the bottom and then raise to the power of the number on the top. So here, what can we do? Well, we can write this as 10 to the power of 8 to the power of 1 over 4. Why? Because the 4th root gives us a power of 1 over 4. Now we can do our power times by our power. To simplify this, when we have a base to a power raised to another power, we multiply the powers. 8 times by 1 over 4 is going to be 2. So we're going to have 3 times by 10 to the power of 8 over 4, which is equal to 2. Therefore, we can rewrite this as 3 times by 10 squared is 100. So we have 3 times 100, which is 300. Okay, hopefully that one made sense. Actually pretty tricky for this topic. And now we have part B. Find the value of 64 to the negative a half. I'm going to go through this one now because I did give a fair bit of time to go through these. Find the value of 64 to the power of negative a half. So two things here, really. Two things here. Number one, we have a negative power. Number two, we have a fractional power. So we're going to need to know how to deal with both of those. Now, my advice when you have a negative fractional power is actually going to be to deal with them separately. So deal with that negative first and then deal with that fraction. Now, what does a negative power do? A negative power makes it the reciprocal. It makes it 1 over. So we can think of this as 1 over 64 to the power of a half. Now that we've done our fractional power, now that we've done our negative power, we can deal with our fractional power. What do we do with a fractional power? Well, we already said we do the root of the number on the bottom and raise it to the power of the number on the top. So here we're going to do the second root of 64. So the square root of 64 and raise that to the power of 1. The square root of 64 is 8, giving us our answer of 1 over 8. If you got that one, fantastic job, fantastic job. We're going to move on to 9C. Is this question 9? 11, 11C. 3 to the power of n over 9 to the power of n minus 1. This is a difficult topic. Or a difficult question, I'll say. Difficult question. So if you're aiming for a grade 7 or a grade 8, or especially a grade 9, you want to be getting this. I would say if you're aiming for a grade 7 and you don't get this, that's completely fine. Don't let it put you off. But if you're aiming for a grade 8 or a grade 9, you really want to be getting this one. You really want to be getting this one. I'm going to give about 1 minute to go through this one. About 1 minute to go through this one. And just a quick note on the Google reviews, for anybody who's not going to be going through this question, if you're aiming for a grade, 4, 5, grade 6 students should definitely give this a go. Yeah, the link is in my description. That's what I was going to say. The link is in the description. So if any of you could, I cannot tell you how appreciated it would be. And like I say, the kind of selfish reason to do it is it's the only way I'm going to be able to keep doing these free lives. And I really want to do that. I really want to do that. So yeah, if you go in the description of the YouTube live, I think the first link is like a one for the streaming software. But then you'll see a Google review link. Actually, Tay, if you could put that in the chat for me, or if any of the moderators could put the link for the Google review in the chat, that would be absolutely amazing. That would be absolutely awesome. Does anybody know how to do that? Thank you very much. And I'm going to pin that if I can. Pin message. Okay, so the link is there to leave the review. So guys, if you can, I would really, really appreciate that. And if you're watching on the TikTok, the same thing goes, but on the TikTok, it's in the link in my profile. It's in the link in my profile. So you just have to quickly leave the live and then go to the profile, do the review quickly, and come back. But you can also just do it at the end if that's better. Okay, part C. Are we ready? Drop ready in the chat when you're ready for me, and we will go through it. Mr. Shot said he sent a scam link, guys. Don't click it. You can see in the link that it says Google review. Thank you to everybody who has reviewed. Guys, let's go through this question then. Let's go through this question, and then I might do a quick check-in. And Luton said ready. I say knowing I haven't done it. Hey, well, listen in super carefully. This one is a great one for practice if you didn't get it. The question says, write 3 to the power of n over 9 to the power of n minus 1 as a power of 3. I'm seeing this and I'm thinking, well, I know that I'm going to need to write this as a power of 3. And I also know that 9 is 3 to the power of 2. So I'm thinking, okay, can I rewrite this 9 as 3 to the power of 2 and go from there? I'm also looking at this and thinking, well, I don't really like this fraction. And we know that when we have a fraction, we do the number on the top divided by the number on the bottom. So I'm going to write this firstly as 3 to the power of n divided by 9 to the power of n minus 1. So I'm swapping that. Now, something that I do know is when I have a base to a power, divide by or times the same base to another power, I can combine those powers. So let me convert this 9 into 3 squared and see where we can get. So we're going to have 3 to the power of n divided by 9 can be written as 3 squared. So we have 3 squared, and that is going to be to the power of n minus 1. Now what do we do? Well, when we have a base to a power and we raise that to another power, what do we have to do? We have to multiply those powers together. We have to multiply those powers together. So I'm going to do on the top 2 times by n minus 1. So I'm going to have 3 to the power of n divided by 3 to the power of, now what's 2 times by n minus 1? 2 times by n minus 1, well, this is 2n minus 2. So I essentially have 3 to the n divided by 3 to the power of 2n minus 2. Now I can combine my powers. I know when I have a base to a power divide by the same base to another power, I have to subtract those powers. So we're essentially going to have n minus 2n minus 2. Let's think about this up here. N minus 2, and then it's taking away 2n minus 2. So what are we going to have? We're going to have n minus 2n. That's going to be minus n. So 3 to the power of minus n. And then we're going to have minus minus 2. Well, minus minus makes positive. So we're going to have plus 2. And if we want to, we could write this as 3 to the power of 2 minus n. Either one of those is going to be absolutely perfect. Either one of those is going to be absolutely perfect. Okay. Let me know in the chat, how was that one? Did anybody get that one? Purple Star said not worth it for 2 marks. Guys, that is wild for 2 marks. That should be 3 for sure. That should be 3 for 4 for sure. Okay, Liber got it. Random got it. Ronyao struggled with it. Adam Osmani said, why is it negative? The reason that it's negative is because we have this divide here. So we take away 2n, and then we essentially take away negative 2. If you got that one, superb job. Guys, we're going to skip question number 12 because this topic's normally not very popular. And it's also a bit awkward to do if you don't have the paper printed out. So we're going to skip it. And we're going to move on to question 13. We're going to move on to question 13. I'm going to quickly have a look and see if any Google reviews actually just came through. I think a few people did review. Let's have a look. Hey, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate that so much. A few of you did. A few of you did. Absolutely amazing. I see somebody left a 1-star review, which is very annoying. Probably a troll. Guys, this always happens. This always happens. Whenever I mention it on the live, someone always leaves a 1-star review, and it pulls someone's put a screenshot of my face on there. It pulls the average down. It pulls the average down. So now it's actually even more important. It's actually even more important. I don't know why people always do that. So if you haven't already, guys, please, please, please use the link, which is either in my TikTok profile or it's pinned. You can see Taylor's pinned it. Link for the review, you can see it there. It'll just take you straight through to that. Safia says, don't skip this question. Don't worry, Safia, we're going to go through it. We're going to go through it. Question 13. Question 13. Let's have a look. What can we do? What can we do? Liquid A and liquid B are mixed to make liquid C. Liquid A has a density of 70 kilograms per meters cubed. Liquid B has liquid A has a mass of 1,400 kilograms. Liquid B has a density of 280 kilograms per meters cubed. Liquid B has a volume of 30 meters cubed. Work out the density of liquid C. This is a question which people get wrong really often. Let's have a look at how to do it. So how are we going to work out the density of C? Well, do we know our formula? Do we know our formula? The density is equal to what? Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Well, the density of C is going to be equal to the mass of C divided by the volume of C. Now, how do we work out the mass of C and the volume of C? Well, liquid A and liquid B are mixed to give liquid C. So the mass of C is going to be the mass of A plus the mass of B. And the volume of C is going to be the volume of A plus the volume of B. So we can go ahead and work these out. We can also write out our triangle because it might be handy. We have density on the bottom, left, mass, and volume. So liquid A has a density of 70, and a mass of 1,400. So we could already write that in for liquid A, which is fantastic, but we're going to need the volume. Now, how do we work out volume? Well, we have volume in the bottom right, we have mass on the top, density in the bottom left, so we can do our mass divided by our volume. So we can say, our mass divided by our density is what I meant to say. So we can say the volume of A is equal to the mass of A divided by the density of A. The mass of A is 1,400. The density of A is 70. And now what's going to be the best way to calculate this? Well, the best way is going to be to simplify this fraction. Let's divide the top and bottom both by 10. That's going to cancel out the zeros. And then we have 140 over 7. 140 divided by 7. We can do 14 divided by 7 is 2. And then we can add another 0 on there, so we have 20. Now we have the volume of A, which is absolutely fantastic. What about working with B? Well, in B, we're given the volume and the density, but we haven't been given the mass. So that's what we're going to have to work out. Now we know, because we have mass on the top, that mass is going to be our density times by our volume. So we can say that our mass of B is equal to our density of B times by our volume of B. Our density of B times by our volume of B. Density of B is going to be 280. Volume of B is going to be 30. So we can do 280 times by 30. What's going to be the best way to do 280 times by 30? Well, we can do 28 times by 3 and then add 2 zeros on the end. So we can do 28 times by 3. 8 times by 3 is going to be 24. Then we can write in a 0 because the 2 is a column across, and do 3 times by 2. That is going to be 6. So we add those together. 4 plus 0 is 4, and 2 plus 6 is 8. So that was it without the 2 zeros. Now we're going to add those 2 zeros back on. We're going to have 84 and 2 zeros. Now our final step is going to be to bring these together. So we're going to need to do the mass of A plus the mass of B over the volume of A plus the volume of B. So the mass of A, what did we say it was? Mass of A is 1,400. So we have 1,400 plus the mass of B, we just worked it out, it's 8,400. It's going to be over the volume of A plus the volume of B. Volume of A is 20 plus volume of B. In the question, it said it was 30. Now we're going to need to simplify this. How can we do it? Well, 1,400 plus 8,400 is going to be 9,800. So we have 9,800 over 50. What's going to be the best way to simplify this? Couple of different ways to do it. I'm going to divide the top and bottom both by 10. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to double the top and the bottom. Or we can actually do it using bus stop. Let's do it using bus stop. So divide the top and bottom by 10. Then we just need to do 980 divided by 5. So I'm going to switch color just to make it clear. We're going to have 980 inside of our bus stop, 5 on the outside. 5s into 9 is going to be 1, remainder 4. 5s into 48 is going to be 9, remainder 3. 5s into 30 is going to be 6, giving us our answer of 196. 196. Well done if you got that one. Nice to see. Well done, Liber. Well done, QDG. Well done, Rick and Morty. Well done, D1NO. Superb work, my friend. Maria, thank you for moderating. Appreciate it very, very much. Awesome work, guys. Awesome work. Okay, let's move on then. Question number 14. Good question here. Good question here. Oh, I just saw that my laptop is not plugged in. That would not be a good time to run out of charge, would it? Let me just plug that in. Just 1 second, guys. Okay, let's see. Plugging this into charge. Fantastic. That could have been a disaster, eh? Imagine running out of charge midstream the day before the exams, eh? Okay, question 14. I'm going to give a couple of minutes for this one. Bit of time to think about it. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. There's definitely a couple of different ways to do this. You could use a tree diagram if you want to. Personally, I'm not going to do it using the tree diagram method. I'm going to do it a little bit of a quicker way. I know some people are going to be happy with that. Some people are going to want the tree diagram method. Maybe at the end, I'll explain it using the tree diagram method. Let's have a look. Jess said, could you go back quickly? You didn't give time to take a pic or screenshot, please. Hey, no worries, Jess. One thing you could do is you can actually, on the live, you can go back a couple of minutes, like on slide across it using the thing at the bottom, and then it will take you back to the screen that you're after. And then you can take that screenshot and then kind of zoom back to being up to date. Okay. Question number 14. Let me know in the chat when you're ready for this one, and we're going to go through it. Pretty classic probability question, to be honest. Definitely a good one to know. Definitely a good one to know. To anybody who's new and hasn't been here before, welcome to the community. I'm going to be going live over the rest of the GCSE exam period. All of the announcements are going to be made on the week to come, so you can see when the lives are going to be. I have a website, mygcsemaths.com. You can check that out after the stream if you'd like. But mainly, I'm going to be doing stuff on TikTok and YouTube. A few different answers going in the chat, I can see. Okay. Okay, many different answers going in the chat. Many different answers. Guys, drop ready for me when you're ready. I want to make sure people have had enough time for this one. Drop ready in the chat when you're ready for me, and we're going to go through it. Tajin's ready. Fairs is ready. Remedy Gaming's ready. Yash is ready. Solar's ready. Cosmo's ready. Purple Star's ready. Luke's ready. Tomo's ready. Okay, guys, let's have a look. Question number 14. The question says that Sally plays 2 games against Martin. In each game, Sally could win, draw, or lose. In each game they play, the probability that Sally wins is 0.3. The probability that she draws is 0.1. Well, first off, they've not told us the probability that Sally loses. So let's just work that out. Probability of lose. Well, we know that probabilities have to add to make 1. So to work out the probability of losing, we can do 1 minus our 0.3 and minus our 0.1. So we take those two probabilities away from 1, that is going to give us 0.6. So we now know the probability of losing is 0.6. Where can we go from there? Well, how can Sally win exactly 1 game? How can Sally win exactly 1 game? Well, there are different ways. Either, well, we could win and then draw, or we could draw and then win, or we could win and then lose, or we could lose and then win. So this is basically a different way of thinking about our tree diagram. This is basically all of the different probabilities, or all of the different combinations, I should say, of ways that Sally could win exactly 1 game. Either she could win, draw, or draw, win, or she could win, lose, or lose, win. So what we need to do now is find each of those probabilities and add them together. So what's the probability of winning the first game and drawing the second game? Well, when we find the probability of one thing and another thing happening, we times those probabilities, right? We times those probabilities. So win and then draw, well, the probability of winning is 0.3. And the probability of drawing is 0.1. So this is going to be the probability of winning and then drawing. What about the probability of drawing and then winning? Well, that's going to be drawing first. So 0.1. And then drawing and winning. Winning was 0.3. So we have 2 of our probabilities there. Now for the other option, win and then lose, we're going to do probability of winning, which is 0.3, times by probability of losing, 0.6. And we're going to add again, losing then drawing, 0.6 times by 0.3. Now what we can do is we can add all of those probabilities together, and that is going to give us our answer. 0.3 times by 0.1 is going to be 0.03. We can think of that as 3 times by 1. So 3 times by 1, we remove the decimals and then put those decimals back in. So we do 3 times 1, it's 3. Put 2 decimal places back in because we removed 2. Using the same logic for this one, we're going to have 0.1 times 0.3 again, 0.03. Then we're going to add to that 0.3 times 0.6. Well, 3 times 6 is 18. We're going to put 2 decimal places back in. So we're going to have 0.18 plus another 0.18. Now we can add those probabilities together. 0.03 plus 0.03 is 0.06. 0.18 plus 0.18 is 0.36. We're going to add those together. That's going to give us our answer of 0.42. I don't know, guys. I don't know what you think, but personally, I would say that's a little bit nicer than tree diagrams. Well done, Kix. Well done, Lulu. Well done, Ryan. Guys, if you got that one, really nicely done. Really nicely done. Let me tell you, though, difficult question there. The majority of people wouldn't get that. Now, this is a really important thing to consider when you're joining social media live streams, is quite often the people in the chat are the ones who got the answers right, right? So it's easy to think that because the chat got the question right, then everybody must have got this question right. But actually, it's just not true. It's just the case that the people who got it right are the ones celebrating in the chat. So it's really important not to kind of bias your perception. Okay, question 15 up next. Question 15 up next. This is another one, guys, which I would say is pretty important. Infinity Cloud says, nah, calm, calm. Harun says, Sue. Infinity Cloud says, I got it wrong, guys. Yeah, what shall I say? Balancing out the chat, balancing out the chat. Maria said 821 views. That's really good. 821 at the moment. In my software, it's telling me 663. We have 821 on. Hey, that's awesome if we do. I'm going to give another 30 seconds for this one, and then we're going to go through it. Guys, I'm going to reload that little poll. I'm going to reload that little poll. Let's see. So start a poll. How's the pace? How's the pace? Last time majority said perfect. We're going to go for perfect. We're going to go for slow down, and we're going to go for speed up. And the way to do it, guys, is to interact with the poll. If you're watching on the TikTok, consider coming over to the YouTube. That's where the poll is that I'm talking about. Guys, I'm dancing a bit. I don't know if you can hear my music. Hopefully not. Okay, good. Sounds like you can't hear the music, which is very good. Whoa. QDG said, bro, yesterday someone was doing a live biology video, got 10K views. That is insane. That is insane. Okay, guys, vote for me in the poll if you haven't already, please. We have 678 people on. We've had 240 votes. Guys, please, please, please get that vote in there. Let me know about the pace. If anybody is wondering what song I have on at the moment, it's called Jolene. Not Jolene, not the old school one. It's the one by Victoni, the Afrobeats one. Absolutely premium stuff. Good stuff. Lincoln New says, I can hear the music. I don't think you can. Can anyone hear the music? Because it's saying on my audio levels that you can't. Isla said, oh, he's seasoned. Okay, thank you for letting me know that you can't hear it, guys. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. We have the majority still going for the perfect pace. So that's what we're going to stick with. Thank you for replying there as well. We have Miso trolling in the chat, says, bro, the music is so loud. I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, let's go through question number 15 then, guys. Let's have a look. Question number 15. It says the straight line L1 has equation y equals 3x minus 4. The straight line L2 is perpendicular to L1 and passes through the point 9,5. Find an equation for L2. Questions like this have been coming up loads in recent years. How are we going to do it? Well, we know that the general equation of a straight line is y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. So in order to work out the equation of our line, we only need two things. We need our gradient and we need our y-intercept. How can we do it? Well, we know that L2 is perpendicular to L1. What does this mean? It means that it meets it at a right angle. And for the sake of this question, what does it mean? Well, it means that the gradient of L2 is going to be the negative reciprocal of the gradient of L1. Let me say that one more time. The gradient of L2 is going to be the negative reciprocal of the gradient of L1. So what's the gradient of L1? We know the gradient of L1 is equal to 3, the number next to the x. What that means is that the gradient of L2 is going to be equal to the negative reciprocal. So we're going to make it negative and we're going to make it 1 over. So negative 1 over 3. So now we have the first part of our equation. We know that the equation of our line is y equals negative 1 over 3x plus c. So now all we need to do is we need to find our y-intercept. See, how do we do it? Well, now we have a different problem. Now we have the problem of working out the equation of a line given a point on the line and the gradient here negative 1 over 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute our point into our line to work out the value of c. So we know when x equals 9, y is equal to 5. So we can say 5 equals negative 1 over 3 times by 9 plus c. This is now an equation which we can rearrange and solve for c. We have 5 equals 1/3 of 9, fraction of an amount. We're going to divide by 3. 9 divided by 3 is going to be 3, so we have negative 3 plus c. Next step. We're going to add 3 to both sides, getting the c on its own. We're going to have 8 is equal to c. So we now have the equation of our straight line. What is it? Well, y equals mx plus c. Our gradient is negative 1 over 3. So y equals negative 1 over 3x plus y-intercept of 8. Guys, if you got that one, superb job, superb job. 5 seconds to screenshot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to move on to question number 16. Question number 16, absolutely one of the least popular topics in exams. Capture, read, capture. I'm not going to give too long for this one. Because I know most people are skipping this, to be honest. But let's see what we can do. I'm going to have a quick look what the reviews are saying after I mentioned it. 394, that's not too bad, actually. Oh, 439, that's sick, guys. The community are pulling through today. You guys are doing sick. Okay, question 16. Don't worry, I'm not skipping this one. I'm just going to give you a couple of moments to do it. Tomo said this is a biology question or something. Yeah, I know this is going to be giving some people flashbacks, but I heard bio paper 1 wasn't too bad, actually. Faisal said, what's the formula for capture recapture? What's the formula for capture recapture? A few different answers going in the chat. Patchy says bio paper 1 wasn't too bad. Vampasite said bio was good, bro. Hey, good to hear. And Luton liked bio as well. I've been hearing some mixed opinions. Okay. Question number 16. Let's see what we can do for this one. Question 16. Shirley wants to find an estimate for the number of bees in her hive. On Monday, she catches 90 of the bees. She puts a mark on each bee and returns them to her hive. On Tuesday, she catches 120 of the bees. She finds that 20 of the bees have been marked. Work out an estimate for the total number of bees in her hive. How shall I explain this? The best way to do this is going to be to work out, okay, well, based on my information, what fraction of my bees do I think have been marked? What fraction do I think have been marked? Well, if when I recatch them, 20 out of 120 have been marked, well, I think 20 120ths have been marked. So this is a fraction of the bees that I think have been marked. In other words, we can divide this, we can divide top and bottom, or we can simplify this, I should say. We can divide top and bottom by 20. We're going to get 1 over 6. So a sixth of the bees have been marked. So what that means is that, how can we work out the total number of bees? Well, 90 bees have been marked. This is a sixth of our total. So we can do 90 times by 6, and that's going to be equal to 540. For some of you, that will be the simplest way that you have ever seen capture recapture explained. 1/6 of our bees have been marked. So 90 is a sixth of our total number of bees. So we times our 90 by 6, we get 540. The other way to do it is to kind of set up an equation. 90 over x, our total number, is equal to 20 over 120, and solve this for x. I'm going to give you the exact same answer. But I think the way I explained it previously was a little bit clearer, a little bit clearer. Next up, part B. It says, Shirley assumes that none of the marks had been rubbed off between Monday and Tuesday. If Shirley's assumption is wrong, explain what effect this would have on your answer to part A. What do we think, guys? Let me know in the chat. Does it mean our answer to part A is going to be an overestimate or an underestimate? Overestimate or underestimate? What do we think? Over, yeah, I can see the chat coming in. It would be an overestimate. It would be an overestimate. So the logic here is basically, if that was the case, if they had been rubbed off, and we would actually end up having an overestimate. We would actually end up having an overestimate. And the reason for this is because we would think that 90 of our bees have been marked, but actually if some of them have been rubbed off, in practicality, when we're recapturing them, that's going to be a larger fraction. That's going to be a larger fraction. Therefore, it's going to be an overestimate. In other words, the answer 540 would be too large. Okay, moving on. Next question, number 17. Oof, an important one. A very, very important one. Looking at the chat. Talk to me, talk to me. What is popping? Vampasite, good job. Henry Knowles, good to see you still on here, my friend. And good luck for tomorrow, mate. Okay. Okay, a daily increase said, can you tell us what the marks are for when you go through the questions so I know how much I got? I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to do that just because I need to prioritize giving the clearest explanation possible. That's the priority. So I'm going to prioritize the explanations over the kind of specific marks. But if you did want to know, you can find the mark schemes and that kind of thing. Might take a little bit longer. What I would say, guys, is this evening, please, we're at the stage of the game where it's not the time to stress about how many marks you're getting. It's just the time to maximize. I mentioned this earlier, but in our evening session this evening, 9 until 10:30, we're going to be way more chilled out. This session's pretty intense. I feel like I'm speaking quickly. I'm bombarding everybody. The foundation session is going to be pretty similar. The higher session, 9 till 10:30, we're going to have the same quality. We're going to have the same good revision, but we're going to be going a little bit more slowly. I'm also going to be sharing some of the best mindset advice that I've learned over the past kind of 8 years doing exams. I know a lot of new people will have joined since I last mentioned this. I've seen a lot more people asking for kind of my grades, my qualifications and everything. So just for context, and because I know, a lot of people think I'm very young. So I'm 24. So yeah, I'll just go through everything. So in my GCSEs, I got 12 A stars. A levels, I got 3 A stars, and that included maths and further maths. I went to uni, went to London School of Economics, my degree's in economics, and I've been tutoring GCSE maths for over 8 years now, around about 8 years. So yeah, that's kind of the background. I know people are still going to ask that again later, but yeah. I've just seen a lot of questions in there. Elisa said, damn, you look younger than 24. I do get this a lot. I do get this a lot. That is some funny stuff going in the chat, man. That comment from you, Kajia Desai. Out of pocket. Out of pocket. Okay. Question 17. Drop ready in the chat for me when you're ready, guys. And we're going to go through it. Question 17. Question 17. Okay. Man said, bro might be Patrick Bateman with the economy degree. Okay, let's have a look, team. Let's have a look. Question 17. What's it gonna be? The question says make f the subject of the formula d is equal to 3 times 1 minus f over f minus 4. I cannot stress this enough. This is another one which comes up over and over again in paper 1. Here we can see we have an f on the top and the bottom of the fraction. If you notice this in a question, if you notice this in a rearranging question, it's super important to make note of. And the reason is going to become clear at the end of the question. We have to use a method at the end of this question, which is very unnatural, which is very unintuitive. So the better thing to spot is when we have a rearranging question which involves a fraction and we see a letter on the top and the bottom. Let me stop waffling and show you what I mean. So we're going to do, first off, so let me just reread the question, make f the subject of the formula. What does that mean? It means rearrange this to get f equals something. Now, at the moment, we have an f on the bottom of the fraction, and we don't like that. So we're going to start off by multiplying both sides by f minus 4. So we're going to times both sides by f minus 4. On the left-hand side, we're going to have d times by f minus 4. And on the right-hand side, we're going to have 3 times by 1 minus f. Next step, we're going to simplify this by expanding our brackets. On the left-hand side, we're going to have df minus 4d is going to be equal to 3 minus 3f. Next step, we're going to move all of our f's to the left-hand side and all of our other letters to the right-hand side. So I'm going to start off by moving this 3f to the left-hand side. I'm going to add 3f to both sides. I'm going to have df plus 3f minus 4d is equal to 3. Next step, I'm going to move this 4d over to the right-hand side. At the moment, it's being subtracted, so I'm going to add it to both sides. We're going to have df plus 3f is equal to 3 plus 4d. Now comes that important thing that I mentioned at the start, this last step of the rearranging, which is quite unintuitive. What we can see here is that we have a letter D next to our first F and a number 3 next to our second F. Now, what that means is that we can't actually combine these together. Oh, but we do need a way to isolate our F. How are we going to do it? Well, we're going to factorize out our F. Good job, Infinity Clouds. Great work. We're going to factorize out our F. Now, what this is going to do, let me show you, is we're going to have f times by what gives us df. It's going to be d. F times by what gives us 3f. It's going to be 3. And then we're going to have on the right-hand side 3 plus 4d. Now we can see what we're left with is an equation which we can rearrange to make f the subject. We can divide both sides by d plus 3. We're going to have f is equal to 3 plus 4d over d plus 3. Hopefully that trick is going to help some of you tomorrow if it comes up. Definitely, or this is very likely to come up in one of the papers, I would say. At least one of the papers. We're going to have 3 plus 4d over d plus 3 as our final answer. Hassan Mohammed says, OMG, I forgot about this. Yep, absolutely, mate. It's an important one for tomorrow. It's an important one for tomorrow. Autumn says, getting the hang of things. Come on, come on. Good to hear, good to hear. Okay, question number 18. This is one which very few people would get. Very few people would get. And then we're going to do question. How are we doing on time? Okay. Let me make a plan. Question 18 important, 19 important, 20 important. Okay, we're going to do 18, 19, 20. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Thank you very much to the moderators. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, anybody else who's still on here at the moment. You guys are doing a fantastic job today, and I really, really appreciate it. In fact, everybody in the chat, can we get a quick round of applause for the moderators? I'd really appreciate it if we can. There has been loads of spam in the chat today. Loads of people trying to derail things. But the moderators have been holding it down for everybody. There's 3 moderators, 4 moderators, making this a better session for all 800 people watching. So if we can get a W or a clap in the chat for the moderators, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Planverse. Thank you, Magma. Let's get that W in the chat for the moderators. Okay. Having a quick look. Okay, things are looking cool. Things are looking cool. Question 18. Let's have a look. This one's only 3 marks. Let's have a look. This one's going to be quite tricky, but definitely some of you are going to be able to do this. It's going to be a very small percentage of people who can do this. It's a tough one, but let's give it a go. Question 18. X is proportional to the square root of y. Y is increased by 44%. Work out the percentage increase in X. Now, what does this mean? Well, if X is directly proportional to the square root of y, it means that X is equal to K times by the square root of y. Now, if y is increased by 44%, what does that mean? It means that the y has essentially been swapped for 1.44y. So this is like the percentage multiplier for a 44% increase. So we want to know, okay, well, if y has been increased by 44%, if it's been multiplied by 1.44, what have I multiplied my value of x by? Now, because this is inside the square root, it's actually going to be the square root of 1.44 times the square root of y. It's going to be the same as multiplying by that. The square root of 1.44, what's this? Well, we know that 12 times by 12 is 144. What that means is that 1.2 times 1.2 is going to be 1.44. 12 by 12 is 144. Adding the 2 decimal places, we get 1.44. Now, how does this help us? Well, the square root of 144 is going to be 1.2. In other words, timesing the square root of y by 1.44 inside of the square root is the same as timesing it by 1.2 outside of the square root. So the value of x is going to increase by a multiplier of 1.2. Now, 1.2 is a multiplier for an increase of 20%. Good job, Autumn. Let's see. If anybody got that, superb job. Did anybody get that one? Really tough question. Really tough question. Random says W. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay. Guys, question 19. Not going to give you long for this. Question 19. We have A and B both on the screen, a 1 marker and a 2 marker. Drop your answer in the chat when you get an answer for question number 19, part A. What do we think? Question 19. Find G of 5. What do we think? I see Eddie saying 33, Planverse 833, Goku 33, Naom 33, Baloo 33, Maze 33, Liber 33. Guys, superb work. Let's have a look. Well, I don't know superb. Yeah, I've not done it yet, but let's have a look. Find G of 5. So f and g are functions such that f of x is 12 over the square root of x, and g of x is 3 times by 2x plus 1. Find G of 5. How do we find a specific value of a function? Well, what have we swapped? Here we've swapped the x for a 5. So what we're going to need to do is substitute x equals 5 into our G of x. So G of 5 is going to be equal to 3 times by 2 lots of x. So we're going to have 2 times by 5. Then we're going to have plus 1. We're going to simplify inside of our brackets first. We're going to have 3 times by. 2 times by 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So 3 times 11 is 33. If you got that one, wonderful work. Superb job. What about part B then, guys? Find G of f of 9. G of f of 9. I'm going to give about 1 minute to go through this, and then I'm going to go through the answer. Henry Knowles, good to still have you on, mate. Liber, top work. Wild Hussein, good work. Yes, sir, good work. I can see 27 popping off in the chat. Let's have a look. Find G of f of 9. Guys, 2 ways to do this. 2 ways to do this. A harder way and an easier way. The harder way to do it would be to find G of f of x as a function. So plugging f into G, and then to plug in that x is equal to 9. That method would work. However, it's going to be easier if we firstly find f of 9 and then get the output to that and plug that one into G. So we're going to find f of 9. F of 9 is going to be equal to 12 over the square root of 9, because we plug x equals 9 into that. Square root of 9 is 3, so we have 12 over 3. 12 over 3 is going to be 4. Okay, 4. 4, 4, 4. Now, what about this? Now that we found f of 9, we can plug this one into g. We can plug this one into g. So we're going to take our g of x, 3 times by 2x plus 1. We're going to have g of 4 is equal to 3 lots of 2 lots of 4 plus 1. 2 times 4 is going to be 8, plus 1 is going to be 9. 3 times by 9 is going to be 27, giving us our answer to part B, 27. 27. Guys, if you got that one, wonderful, wonderful job. We're going to move on to part C. Part C says g to the minus 1 of 6. Now, because this is kind of a bit awkward on 2 screens, I'm just going to go through it. So I'm going to copy down our g of x. So g of x is equal to 3 times 2x plus 1. And we need to find g to the minus 1 of 6. Again, 2 ways to do this. 2 ways to do this. Method number 1 is we could find g to the minus 1 of x. In my head, that would be x minus 3 over 6. So it would be x minus 3 over 6. And then you could plug that in. Then you could plug that in. You could plug 6 into x minus 3 over 6, and that would give you your answer. So that's one method. The other method, though, is going to be we can actually just set our output equal to 6 and see what input would give us that output. In other words, we can say 6 is equal to 3 times by 2x plus 1 and solve this equation for x. So solving it, we get 6 equals 3 times 2x is 6x, 3 times 1 is 3. Minus 3 from both sides, 3 is equal to 6x. Divide both sides by 6. X is equal to 3 over 6, which is equal to a half. So if you got that one, absolutely fantastic work. X is equal to a half. 2 methods there. We could have found the inverse function. We could have found the inverse function and then plugged in 6. Or we could have just set it equal to it and rearranged. Okay, we're going to move on to question number 20. And this is going to be, I'm already over time, but this is going to be the final question that we're going to do of this paper. Okay, Daily Increase says, chat, we cooking with this one. Nofila, don't worry about typing no hate into the chat. Just get everybody muted. Just get everybody muted if anyone puts any dodgy stuff in. You don't have to worry about kind of saying that in the chat. I think it's pretty obvious that people should just keep the vibes good. Somebody said, is it me? But please don't spam in the chat, Jacob Jones. Please don't spam in the chat. Okay, question 20. Let's have a look. No worries, Jacob. No worries. Okay, guys, this is going to be our final question of session number 1 of this evening. Before we go through it, I just want to quickly outline the schedule for the rest of the night. So I'm going to have a little bit of a break between about 6:40 and 7. Then I'm going to be back doing a foundation paper between 7 and 8:30. Now, if you're currently doing higher and you're on this stream revising, absolutely fantastic. You could consider joining the foundation one as well, just because it's going to be a nice break before the higher stream again starts at 9. So if you're going to be doing, higher revision solidly 5 till 6:30, then we don't have a break between now and 9, and then we just go straight back in and we keep focusing on higher content. Maybe we're going to get a bit drained. Maybe we're going to be a bit tired out. So some of you who are doing higher might want to join the foundation session as well. If not, obviously, completely cool. Then maybe I'll see you again for the higher session, 9 until 10:30. If you're new, welcome to the community. It's nice to see way more of us on today than ever before, to be honest. 800 of us is absolutely fantastic. Super positive community. Wonderful to see. Wonderful to see. Question number 20. Question number 20. Guys, let's go through it. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Question number 20. It says, show that the square root of 180 minus 2 root 5 over 5 root 5 minus 5 can be written in the form a plus root 5 over b, where a and b are integers. Here we have a grade 9 4-mark question. What's the topic? Does anybody know? It's rationalizing the denominator. As soon as we see a surd on the bottom of a fraction, we're instantly thinking of rationalizing the denominator. However, this one has a little bit of a hidden trick on the top, which is going to make this a little bit nicer. We can actually simplify the square root of 180 first of all. We see that on the top, looks a little bit ugly, it's a pretty big number, so we're going to have a look and see if we can simplify. Our other terms, or our other surds, have a 5 in them, so we want to know, can I times this by a square number? Sorry, can I times 5 by a square number to get 180? Because then I'll be able to simplify, right? So can I? I actually can. The square root of 36 times by the square root of 5 is going to give us the square root of 180. Because with surds, number inside times number inside gives number inside. Now, why do we do this? Because we can actually calculate the square root of 36. It's going to be 6. So we have 6 root 5. Now we can simplify the top, because on the top we have 6 root 5 minus 2 root 5. This is going to be 4 root 5. This is going to be 4 root 5. So we've now kind of rewritten our problem. We now have 4 root 5 over 5 root 5 minus 5 to rationalize. How are we going to do it? To rationalize the denominator, when we have a surd plus or minus another number on the bottom, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the current bottom. However, if we have a minus, we're going to swap it for a plus. If we have a plus, we're going to swap it for a minus. So I'm going to swap this minus 5 for a plus 5. Plus 5. And now all that we're going to do is we're going to do our top times by our top and our bottom times by our bottom. And I personally like to write this out in brackets. I think it makes things a little bit more clear. On the top, we're going to have 4 times by 5, which is going to be 20. Then root 5 times root 5, so it's going to be root 25. Then we're going to have plus, we're going to have 4 root 5 times by 5. Number on the outside times by this number. 4 times 5 is 20, so we have 20 root 5. That's going to be over. Now, how are we going to do 5 root 5 minus 5 times 5 root 5 plus 5? Well, there's a couple of ways we could do this. We could either do it the long way and expand everything, which I actually will do because it's going to make this even clearer. So we're going to do each of our numbers in our first bracket times each of our numbers in the second bracket. We're going to do 5 root 5 times 5 root 5. That's going to be 25 root 25. Then we're going to do 5 root 5 times plus root 5. We're going to have plus 25 root 5. Then we're going to have minus 5 times plus root 5. It's going to be minus 25 root 5. Then we're going to have minus 5 times by plus 5. We're going to have minus 25. We're going to have minus 25. Next step, we can simplify this. Plus 25 root 5 minus 25 root 5, they're going to cancel. 25 root 5, well, that's going to be 25 times by 5. Why? Because the square root of 25 is going to be 5. So we have 25 times by 5. That's going to be 125. So we have 125 minus 25, which is going to give us 100. So we have this now over 100. Let me just switch to blue, actually. Over 100. Next step, where can we go from here? Well, we can actually simplify. We're going to have 20 times by the square root of 25. Square root of 25 is 5, so we have 20 times 5, which is 100. So we have 100 plus 20 root 5 over 100. Next step, we can simplify. We need this in the form a number plus root 5 over a number. We are going to split this up firstly into 100 over 100 plus 20 root 5 over 100. Now we can simplify. 100 divided by 100 is 1. And top and bottom here, we can divide both by 20. 20 root 5 divided 20 is root 5. 100 divided by 20 is going to be 5. So we're going to have our answer, I'll just write this a little bit clearer, of 1 plus the square root of 5 over 5. Guys, that is a mic drop, and that is our final question of this session. Guys, let's get a W in the chat. Let's spam the chat full of W's and as many good vibe emojis as we can. That is a solid hour, 40 minutes of revision done. Guys, this little part is just as important as the actual maths. Close your eyes. Take a moment to appreciate the work that you're putting in. It's something that we don't do enough. Taylor in there with the W emojis. Maria in there with the lightning bolt emojis. Come on, come on. Let's get that electricity spreading. Okay. I don't want to waffle on for too long. I'm just going to say one final thing before we close this one down. I'm going to take a 20-minute break and I'm going to be back for foundation. So first thing that I'm going to say is, guys, I'm going to be back doing a higher past paper at 9 p.m. this evening. So we're going to be doing another session 9 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. this evening. I'm going to be going through a higher paper. I'm going to be giving some mindset advice for tomorrow and some things that I would absolutely prioritize this evening, prioritizing as well the questions which are most likely to come up. If you're doing higher, consider joining the foundation session as well. It's going to be a nice little break between the higher session now and the higher session at the end. The second half of that foundation paper is also all going to be higher content. The final thing that I'm going to say, guys, is if you haven't already, please, please, please consider leaving that Google review. So if you didn't hear me earlier, basically the only way that I'm going to be able to keep doing these live streams for free, which I really, really want to do, is to get enough of these Google reviews. So there's a link in the description of this YouTube live. You click kind of, more information. It's not the first link, which says restream. That's like for the streaming software. There's a Google review link. Actually, it's a pinned comment as well. So you can see Taylor's pinned this comment. And that's will take you to do the Google review. Selflessly, guys, it really helps me. It really, really helps me, or it would really help me if you did do it. Please don't think that everybody else would do it, because if everybody thinks that, then nobody ends up doing it. And the selfish reason to do it is because it's the only way that I'm going to be able to keep doing free live streams. I do have some premium paid live streams on my website, mygcsemaths.com. So if you're interested in kind of small group classes for every week, you can check that out on mygcsemaths.com. But I really want to keep doing these free social media ones. And the only way I can do it is if I get enough of these reviews. So yeah, if you haven't already, that would be absolutely amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Curse Edit said, quick question, Messi or Ronaldo? Well, I'm going to say Messi. I'm going to say Messi. For that different reasons, though. Different reasons. They're very different players. Very different players. Okay. Guys, just so I get a little bit of time to break between now and the next session, I'm going to end the stream now. I hope to see as many of you as possible this evening. It's been a fantastic session one. If you're not joining any of the other sessions for whatever reason it is, maybe you're busy, maybe you got stuff to do, then good luck for tomorrow. There's been many months, lots of time building up to this. All we can do now is give it our best shot. Hopefully, though, I will be seeing you later. I will be seeing you later. And we're going to be able to get that second revision session in. So, guys, I'm going to say, hasta luego, arrivederci, goodbye Elif, goodbye Magma, goodbye Sienna, goodbye ZB Beats, goodbye Ellie Belly, goodbye N Luton, goodbye Ross Mack, adios Nina, adios Autumn, Hafs, Adam, Magma, Famlam Cuz, good to have you on, my friend. Sivit, bye, Rania, bye, Liber, adios. Hassan, adios. Guys, I'm going to say hasta luego, arrivederci, ciao, 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 al presto. I will see you in the next session. If I don't, good luck for tomorrow. Ciao, ciao, ciao.